I am tracing my memoirs back from that year till about 1928, 29. That was in the time I was working at my first boss. Well, as you know, I was just a little lad, 15, 16 years old, and was a little bit freer with everybody, and that is the time you started looking at other things in life, which means looking at girls, which I always did from that time on, and I liked it, but not very seriously, just like girls. From my 15th up till my 18th years, there was nothing serious, just one girl in and one girl out, and go out with one and give her the bum the next day. I only remember the first girl who kissed me. That was quite an experience. I think I was a little bit over 16 years old. It was I met on the street, you know, we were always with a couple of friends fooling around and looking at girls, gaping at them, and but anyway, we picked up a couple of girls, you know, two girls, and I was with one friend. You know, we started walking, and all of a sudden we were walking in a dark neighborhood, quiet, walking side by side, and the girl looked up at me, looked me in my eyes, and whatever happened, I don't know, but all of a sudden she kissed me. That was quite an experience at that age. I didn't know what to think about it. But anyway, I didn't take anything serious after that when I left her. But a couple of days later, then she kept going after me. I was walking around, at least for about 2 or 3 weeks, when all of a sudden it was finished. And I tell you why, because she was Catholic and the priest had told her that she had confessed that she was going with a boy who was not Catholic. And that was the dead sin. So she told me, well, okay, if you think about that, I don't care. If you don't want me, don't take me. So that was finished. Until a couple of months later, I was home and somebody was at the door asking for me. So I went all the way down, and who was that? It was a boy I'd never seen before. Well, he said, my name is zus and so, the name was Koning. The Koning, never know. Yeah, he said, you went along with my sister. And she has asked me to ask you to go to kind of a meeting, you know, and that was kind of a meeting from the Catholics to get people to that religion. She thought I was pretty good and I was a nice boy. And if I was Catholic, she was willing to go with me again. I said, oh, that's kind of an honor, but no thanks. At that time, you know, we were brought up in a Christian way, and although I admit that it is a big fault of people to teach them hatred. And that's what I was being taught in our home, to hate the Catholics and to hate zus and to hate so, and except your own people, all right, which was Dutch Reform. Well, as a boy, you know, you don't know any better, so you went along with it, not using your own brains, and just be guided by what your parents said. Later on, and that's what I said when I was in the army, that changed quite a bit. I found that was very wrong, and from that time on, I was looking different at people. But anyway, after that girl, one came and one went, and another came and went, and until at my 18th birthday, I was at that time connected in kind of a group, Christian group, who was playing music, you know, when I was blowing the trumpet in that with 2 other friends. And we had kind of a concert on my birthday. And here, one of my friends was going along with a girl, and she was there too at that concert with one of their girlfriends. When we went home, well, I had to walk along with those girls too, so I picked up another girl and walked her home and back. Further, never thought about it. Next day I came home from work and here strolling along in the street was my friend's girl with her girlfriend, which was after me. So we'll talk, and believe it or not, I went with that girl for 3.5 years, going on and off and off and on and on and off. She was kind of a stubborn kind of a girl, you know, kind of dominating, and I was stupid enough to go for that. And as I say, I thought I was very fond of her, you know, so I wanted to keep her. And anyway, I had, for 3.5 years, according my sisters, a terrible time because that stupid girl did and that stupid girl that, and it was no good. And the more they told bad things about it, the more I was going with it. And that went on for 3.5 years until I finally fed up. It was in January or February in 1935, I guess it was. I finally kept up with it, and at that time I was going to the evening school for drafting. And I met a guy who was standing beside me, and he was a carpenter too. He said, no, I think I should trace back a little bit. As I told you, there was no work, everybody was without work. And if you could make a buck here or there, well, you picked it up. So I met a guy, one of my friends, who was an electrician. He was going to a dancing school, and that dancing school wanted a kind of a partition in the dance hall. It was just a little partition with cloth on it, and I don't know what. But he said, I'm an electrician, I'm not a carpenter. He said, are you interested in doing it? So, well, that's all right. So I went to that lady. It was by the name of Dixie Dancing School. And, well, I made an arrangement with this. And I made that partition. And I talked, and she asked me if I was dancing and if I was interested. Well, I was, and I was not. The thing I know about dancing was practically nothing. I never had a girl in my arms and swirled around with it. But she said, well, I can give you lessons and so on for payment. Well, I rather had the payment at that time. So I settled for the payment. But coming back at my evening school, as I said before, I talked with that boy beside me, and he said, well, I like to go dancing too, but I don't know what, I'm a little bit shy. I said, well, so am I. And he said, well, why don't you take private lessons? They were not that cheap. It was about for a guilder for an hour or something. So we made arrangements to go together for private lessons. Well, here was I never how to set my feet before another. But anyway, the teaching was all right, and I picked it up right away, you know. I had feeling for rhythm, and the teacher told me, she said, well, you get darn a good feeling for rhythm. And we took our lessons, I think it was 10 lessons, and here we were dancing. And she asked me, the teacher, if I was interested of helping her out and having some training right away without pay, of course, by helping out other private members. If you have little groups too, you know, for 2 or 3 people, and I need people to help me out. Well, I think if you think I'm able to do it, I'll do that. And that's what I did. And that went pretty good, you know, and my teaching abilities were above normal. That's what she told me. And at one of those groups, I don't know how big the group was, about 6 or 8, were four girls, or 5 girls and 3 boys, I guess. Anyway, we were helping out that, so I was dancing with that girl and that girl, and a certain girl, as I said, I danced before with her, was kind of shy and had to talk to her, and always was kind of complaining that she fell over my feet and so on. But at that night, perfectly well. And she said so to me. She said, well, that's the first night I don't make any mistakes with you. So I looked at her, you know, and I looked down, and maybe I looked down a little bit too far. I said something, well, I shouldn't have seen. I thought for myself, well, that looks pretty good. That same night, all of a sudden, I got in my mind to follow her and ask her if she would allow me to bring her home. Well, she didn't mind, and I brought her home. We talked, and we made a little appointment to go to the show. So I went to a show with her, and from that on, everything was 100%. My mind about girls changed in that time. Before, I saw girls just as playthings and used to fool around with, but with this one, I don't know. It was way different. As you may understand, that same girl, at the moment, I'm married to her for over 52 years already. So she must be pretty good, which she is.